gonna whip up a delicious leftover Thanksgiving panini. I'm gonna use stuff that we had yesterday, and it is gonna be so good. I'll start with 2 slices of sourdough bread. You can use whatever kind of bread you want. And then I'll put some Dijon mustard on both halves. The Dijon just gives the sandwich a really nice tang, but I don't want to add too much. I don't want it to be gloopy. Since this is a panini, it has to have cheese. And I like to use Swiss cheese, but of course, any cheese will do. And I'll do 1 piece on each slice of bread. Okay, and now, because this is a leftover Thanksgiving panini, it has to have turkey. I'm gonna use mostly white meat on the sandwich. That's what my girls really like. Fortunately, I have plenty left over. And I'll just do about 1/3 cup or so. I love to have pieces with the skin still on, just all that Thanksgiving flavor. I'll add just a little bit more. Okay, now on top of the turkey, I'll spoon some of my leftover cranberry sauce. This is kind of a weird sandwich. It has every single component of Thanksgiving dinner on the sandwich, but it all combines to make this heavenly, heavenly sandwich. So good. Okay, I just spread that out. Next comes my favorite part of Thanksgiving dinner, the dressing. I'm always relieved when there's leftover dressing because I know I'm gonna use it. Okay, I think that's about all the dressing this sandwich will hold. And then over the top of the dressing, I'm gonna spoon some of this heavenly giblet gravy. Okay, now I'll just spoon this luscious gravy right over the dressing. It actually helps that the gravy's kind of cool. It's not totally warm and running all over the place. Okay, now I'm gonna put this sandwich together. I want the outside of the panini to be really crisp and golden brown. So I've got some softened butter, and I'll just spread it all over the surface. And then my panini maker should be all toasty. So I'm gonna put it face down, hoping this beautiful sandwich doesn't fall apart. Ready, set? Ah, I love it when it works. Okay, I'll just pat it down a little bit. And now, before I close it, I'll just spread the top with butter. My girls love panini, but they are gonna go crazy over this one. The girls will be here in just a minute. I told them just to honk the horn because they're in a hurry to get where they're going. So I'll just slice it in half. The cheese is melted, the gravy is hot, everything is just yummy and gooey. Oh, the girls are gonna love this. All right, I'll just wrap them up. Oh, and there are the girls. It's like a lodge drive-through. I'm whipping up a batch of leftover turkey spring rolls. They are so fresh and so delicious. After the big heavy meal we had yesterday, they're gonna be just the ticket. Now I'll start by soaking some cellophane noodles. I love these things. They soften and they're really transparent. They're really light. I'll just pour them into a bowl. And then I have a kettle of boiling water, and I'll just pour the water right over the noodles. They're so easy, you just have to let them soak for about 5 minutes or so, and they'll be just perfect. Okay, I'll let those go, and now I'll start on the flavoring for the leftover turkey. It starts with about 3 tablespoons of soy sauce. I usually do low sodium soy sauce whenever I use soy sauce. Alrighty, now just about a teaspoon of rice wine vinegar. I don't need to make too much, just a little bit to season the turkey. Okay, and then my very favorite, about a teaspoon of sesame oil. And then to give it a little bit of a kick, about half a teaspoon of hot chili oil. I can definitely handle the spice, but you don't have to add this if you don't want to. Okay, now I'll just whisk this together. And then I have some shredded turkey. I tore it into pieces. I'll just grab a handful and I'll just sort of toss it in. And this is gonna make the turkey just out of this world delicious. And what I love about these spring rolls is the flavors are totally different from the ones in the Thanksgiving meal. Now the noodles look like they're ready, so I'll drain them. Okay, now to make the wrapper, I need these rice paper wrappers. So I'll just snip open the package and I'll take one out and then I'll just dip it into a bowl of warm water. I don't want it to get too soft. If the wrapper's too soft, then the whole thing will fall apart. I take it out just a few seconds before I think it's perfect because it'll still start to soften after I take it out. Okay, it's just right. Now I grab leaves of cilantro and I just lay them on first. And that way when you roll up the roll, you have these beautiful leaves that are visible. Now I'll grab a little handful of noodles. The biggest mistake I sometimes make when I build these is putting too much filling in and then the roll won't roll at all. So just start with a little bit of everything. Some turkey. And then I have just some regular lettuce, julienned carrots, and the same with cucumbers, alfalfa sprouts. I love alfalfa sprouts. A little more cilantro in. This is more of a filling than a decoration. All right, and now I'll start to roll it. I'll start by bringing the bottom up and I'll wrap all the ingredients and try to get it nice and tight in there. And then I'll fold in the edges. I'm not gonna win any perfection awards with these. I might win a delicious award though. And then I'll just roll them up. Okay, just perfect. Okay, now to go with the spring rolls, I need to make a dipping sauce, so I'm gonna break out the leftover cranberry sauce again. It's the perfect base, and I'll just put a few spoonfuls in. And then to make it into more of a sauce, I'll add a little bit of soy sauce. And just because I'm feeling adventurous, I'll add some hot chili oil. Okay, the sauce is ready, which means I get to dig in. I am so excited. Turkey tetrazzini is really simple, but it does have quite a few steps. I'm gonna start by making the delicious sauce. Now I've got half a stick of butter sizzling in a pot, and I'll add some really finely minced garlic. Now I have some white mushrooms and I just sliced them into quarters and I'll throw them in. That's one of the things I love about this Thanksgiving leftover dish. I had these mushrooms on hand for my Thanksgiving stuffing. A lot of these things I already had. Okay, now I'll just stir the mushrooms around, get them coated in that butter and garlic. And now I'm gonna add a cup of white wine. The only thing better than mushrooms cooked in butter and garlic is mushrooms cooked in butter, garlic, and wine. Okay, now I'll let the mushrooms cook until the liquid's reduced by half. When the sauce has thickened, I just sprinkle 1/4 cup of flour over the mushrooms, stir it together, pour in 4 cups of turkey broth, and continue to cook the sauce until it's nice and thick. Now I'm gonna add an 8-ounce block of cream cheese. This is melting almost instantly, and if it didn't look good before, it looks amazing now, wow. Okay, now I've got my leftover Thanksgiving turkey, of course. I have a mix of white and dark meat. Now it's time to add even more good stuff. First, finely chopped black olives, frozen green peas, bacon that have been fried till crisp and chopped, grated Monterey Jack, and Parmesan. Then salt and pepper. Now I've got some spaghetti noodles. I broke them in half before I cooked them, and I'll just throw those in. It shouldn't be too thick because it's gonna continue to thicken when it bakes in the oven. Okay, now I'll grab Edna Mae's dish, and I will hope that all of this fits. And I'll just pour it right in. Look at that. Now you can top it with a little cheese if you want to, but I like to sprinkle on just a little bit of panko breadcrumbs. It just gives it a little bit of crunch, a little bit of texture on top. Okay, now this just needs to bake at 350 for about 20 minutes or so. Crispy potato balls. These are cheesy, flavorful, crispy, wonderful, and you can make them with leftover mashed potatoes, which is a common thing in my house. So I've got leftover mashed potatoes. I added an egg, and I'm gonna add some minced parsley, save the rest for a garnish. And then I've got some shredded mozzarella and some Parmesan cheese. Basically, you can add whatever cheeses, whatever herbs and flavors that you like with potatoes. They're basically little potato croquettes is what we're making. So stir this around, and then when it's about halfway stirred together, I'll add a little bit of flour, not too much, probably like 1/4 cup at the most. And then this sort of turns into more of a potato dough, sort of like gnocchi, which is Alex's favorite food in the world.
Gnocchi.
Okay, here's where things get really fun and really messy. So I've got a little dish of water just for kicks, and I'm just going to kind of pat it into the shape of a ball. It's really soft and sticky. And then, here, Alex, can you see this? Put it onto a plate of seasoned breadcrumbs. And as you kind of pat the breadcrumbs in, just keep it formed into the general shape of a ball, okay?
That's one potato ball.
Now I'm gonna make the rest, and then I'm gonna fry them and take them out of the oil. See you on the other side. And then I'll sprinkle on some extra Parmesan and the extra parsley. How good do these look? Out of this world. I'm just gonna take a little bite. Oh, just a little bitty, tiny, crispy piece of it is delicious. Imagine how good they're gonna be when I eat the whole platter. Well, I have an idea for a Thanksgiving breakfast casserole that is so scrumptious. It has all the flavors of Thanksgiving, but you can make it the night before, which makes it very easy, and it's just the thing to eat for breakfast on Turkey Day. I started by cutting up some cinnamon raisin English muffins. This casserole has a nice savory sweet flavor. I'm gonna check what's in the skillet. I've got a mixture of diced Granny Smith apples and diced onion. I also added some fresh sage just to really up the Thanksgiving flavor. And I sauteed it until it's soft. So I'm gonna turn off the heat and just let that sit. And now I'll whip up the egg mixture. Got a bunch of eggs for the casserole, and I'll start by mixing them up a bit. And to make them a little creamy, I'll add some whole milk and half. Callie, by the way, is a friend of mine. She has a store right across the street from the Merc. She and her husband, Joey, are such a sweet couple. I love to make breakfast casseroles the night before Thanksgiving. It's really great to have it ready to go in the fridge when you wake up and just pop it in the oven. We don't wind up eating Thanksgiving dinner until later in the day, so it's nice to start the day with a little something to eat. Okay, while I keep mixing this up, I've got time for another question.
Hi, Ree. If I'm cooking my own Thanksgiving dinner, what's the first thing I should do?
Oh, Mackenzie, so you're making your first Thanksgiving meal. Well, my first piece of advice would be run for the hills. I'm just kidding. Actually, making your own Thanksgiving feast is so fun and so rewarding. The first thing you need to do is decide what you're gonna make. From there, you make the grocery list, then you do your shopping, and then you can plan out each day before Thanksgiving. If you make lists and prep, you will have so much fun. Pen and paper are definitely your friend. Good luck, you can totally do this. Now I'm gonna go ahead and assemble the breakfast casserole. I have a buttered baking dish, and I'm gonna add half of the English muffins first. Now I've got some cooked breakfast sausage. This is sage sausage, but it would also be delicious if you used maple sausage. Scrumptious. Okay, I'm spreading that out. And then I'm gonna grab the skillet with the onions and the apples. and I'll add half of that. I use so many apples on Thanksgiving Day between this casserole, the Thanksgiving dressing, apple pie. I mean, I don't even want to think about how many apples I go through. Now I have some freshly grated white cheddar. Any cheese works. You can do sharp cheddar, you can do pepper jack, or just plain Monterey Jack. Okay, now I'm gonna do the same thing a second time. Now all that's left is the egg mixture, and I'll pour it really slowly over the top. In the fridge overnight, those English muffins soak up all of this wonderful custard. This is a delicious casserole. I have learned the hard way through the years that if I don't have something ready for breakfast on Thanksgiving morning, my family will eat the Thanksgiving meal before any guests show up. Okay, I'm gonna cover this with plastic wrap. Now, Callie, on Thanksgiving morning, this is all you have to do. Take the casserole out of the fridge 20 minutes before cooking, remove the plastic wrap, replace it with foil, and bake it at 350 degrees for 35 minutes. Then take the foil off and cook it for another 15 minutes. When it's golden brown and slightly crisp, it's done, and all it needs is a sprinkle of chopped parsley.